Hello, I'm Adam Carlson here on behalf of Murphy Entertainment Studio, and I would like to start off by saying that when Mike essentially said I was in charge of sports programming, for lack of a better word, on this channel, it was assumed that it was all going to be fun and games, maybe a few uh, hopefully some really good interviews in the future. But this past weekend, we were reminded that sometimes life and death also hits the sports world pretty hard, and that's where we were. That's where we found ourselves Sunday with the death of Kobe Bryant. And before I would go any further, I want to say that we in no way want to minimize the other 8 lives lost in that tragedy. But this is primarily going to be a Kobe Bryant video, but our thoughts and prayers are certainly with the family and friends of the other victims. Uh, Kobe Bryant was a lot of different things to a lot of different people. The basketball player was uh, loved if you were in LA, and basically he was cast at. Most people were like me, and they cast him as the villain in the basketball world, and that's not to say like he was the Joker or any of that. It's not a hate term. It's just that's the guy that you realized you had to beat to get to the top, and he just won so much that eventually you were like, okay, come on, dude, it's somebody else's turn. Just lose. You didn't hate him. You just wanted him to lose, and it didn't happen all that often. Kobe, the basketball player, was one of the greatest players of all time, but one of the most fun players to watch of all time. Uh, I didn't know him. I never met him. One of my true regrets is that I never saw him play live. Um, and but he was always there. He was always in your face on the sports programming on ESPN, on Sports Center. If you were any kind of a sports fan, you saw a lot of Kobe highlights. But here's the other fact about Kobe, the basketball player. That man has been gone for a good long while. His last game was April 2016. Now, the man we lost this last Sunday was the guy that's basically like us. Kobe the father, Kobe the husband, Kobe the businessman, Kobe just just the man, and that's what we lost Sunday, and I want to get into more of that person and his transition from the immature young man that he was when he came into our lives at 17 to the man he was uh, when he died. As I said, when he first came into our lives as a 17-year-old rookie, he was very immature. He made mistakes. He was cocky. He was arrogant. Teammates were never, a lot. Some teammates were not liking him. He had how he publicized grievances with teammates, most notably Shaq. Um, and most worst of all was you cannot talk about the legacy of Kobe without mentioning his sexual assault charge in 2003 of a Denver woman, and that charge was eventually dropped, but he had to pay a certain undisclosed amount in a civil suit So, but here's the thing. After that, he 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 got better. He used what's called the Mamba mentality. Well, when he was a basketball player, his nickname was Black Mamba, and he became well known for what's called the Mamba mentality, and that also means different things to different people. The best way I can define it, I think, is uh, a relentless pursuit of perfection, knowing full well that you're never going to reach it, and that was Kobe. Uh, After this charge and the embarrassment that came with it, what he did was what Kobe always did. He got better as a man, better as a husband. He wasn't quite a father yet, but that came shortly after. And you know, after his playing days were over, he dedicated his whole life to just being a family man, and there's no evidence that he was ever anything but a great husband, a great father after that 2003 incident. Um, so basically, what I'm saying is he came into us as an immature young man, and in the end of his life, he died a good father, a good husband, and by all accounts, a good man. In other words, he's just like the rest of us, immature, making big mistakes young, and getting better from that. Uh, in fact, the only reason he even had a helicopter was because he wanted to increase his family time at home. Some people may not know that he got tired of being stuck in traffic, and that was time that he could have been spending with his wife and kids at home. And unfortunately, it ended Sunday with him and his daughter on the way to her basketball game that he was going to coach. That was the kind of father he became. Uh, yeah, all the pictures that you've been seeing on ESPN of him with his kids, you know that they adored him, and the feeling was definitely mutual, and so that's about all I can say about Kobe. Uh, he died a good man. That's all you can hope for. Uh, he probably did more in his 41 years. I hope I do that much as he did in my 80 years, or hopefully 80 years. Um, he you know, the thing that I got started thinking about as soon as I heard what had happened to Kobe, and I'm sure that this is something that a lot of the average Joe NBA fans can relate to, is I had two thoughts. One, of course, if this can happen to Kobe, well, what can happen to me? You know, that was the first thing I thought. Wow. And the second thing I thought is, and I was reminded of this on Thursday watching NBA on TNT with Shaq talking about their old beef, and talking about how they tried to squash it. And I just started thinking to myself, is there anybody I'm having beef with that I can fix it just with a phone call and a little bit of work? And I would encourage everybody else to think the same thing. If you have unnecessary problems with somebody, squash them. It's not that big a deal. Uh, you never know when it's going to be too late. And with that, I'm just going to say Murphy Entertainment Studio out.